Creepy times indeed. I remember when he was in court, he would go to court every day when he was being found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud. And throughout the testimony, he would be getting his ass handed to him, well, his attorneys would, all day long. But he would come out with this stack of papers that he had been looking through the whole time he was in court, when he wasn't farting and falling asleep, that is. He would peruse these papers like they meant the world to him. And now we know why. And then he would come out of court and get in front of the fucking press and say, no matter how many times the judge put a fucking block on what he could say, he did great. Today's people, they're gonna lose. They're never gonna. I'm an innocent man. Everybody knows I'm innocent. Everybody knows it. I caught, by the way, you were some Republican that was trying to imitate Trump with the hand gestures. He was talking about, like, it's time to bring back health. No more fat kids. But he was so fat. I mean, his tits were bigger than mine. He needed a bra. This is a conversation that we're going to seriously have to have. In fact, I mean, eventually. But you said in the comments, well, Finn does a better impression than this guy, which wasn't saying much. I just wanted to point that out while I had your full attention. A couple other things that bother me about this story. One is that the Secret Service were on to this from day one. They were raising alarms during the campaign that this woman was a danger not only to herself, but to the president-elect. Oh, but it all fell on deaf ears. Perfect example is Iran. Tulsi Gabbard got ripped to shreds when she couldn't defend the fact that we knew Iran wasn't a threat. There was no imminent threat from Iran. Just the same garbage that you know who has been trying to poison us with for decades. So why bother with intelligence, right? Why bother with all of the briefings that he gets for intelligence purposes so that he can make the best decision? He doesn't listen. He doesn't care. What he goes with is whoever was last in his ear is who he's going with. Her obsession became so severe that her own brother spoke. Natalie Harp, 38, the estranged brother of Trump's favorite personal assistant, blasted the 80-year-old president and his too close for comfort bond with Preston's 34-year-old sister. In an interview with the Daily Mail, Preston called Trump a national embarrassment and his sister's relationship with him very unhealthy. She's just like his fan club. Joined the team in 2022 without an official role. She first came into contact with him when she thanked him for signing the Right to Try Act in 2019, which she said allowed her to receive experimental treatment for her bone cancer. The Washington Post has cast doubt on this claim. Trump himself said, bragging to his staffers that the adoring young female aide who loves him as much as his wife and kids and will never leave him. In the comment section of that Daily Beast article, somebody said, the taco began telling his staff that Harp was the only one who loved him as much as his wife and kids? Nope. Just another lie. Harp loves him way more than his wife and kids. None of them can stand to be around him all day. Robert Wessel said, things will get really interesting if it turns out he left everything to her in his will. This isn't a presidency, it's a fucking soap. Somebody else answered him and said, you can see this as a common issue where dementia patients become attached to their aides and have fantasies about their relationship, which she is obviously promoting. They became untethered from their families and end up leaving their estate or a large portion of it to these workers. Watch out, Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, does she even count? Wait for the fucking legal fights. Heem says, what makes a person like her tick? These are questions that keep us up at night. Barf emoji. Somebody else said, the minute that Harp needs something, becomes a relationship Donald has to manage, over the gun whale she goes, printer and all. Even more interesting, somebody says, I don't think she'll ever let any of those things happen. She's in it to win it. Which is why the Secret Service was concerned that she may be not just a threat to the president, but to herself. What the fuck does Melania think of any of this? That's what I want to know. She's got her own problems with Amanda Ungaro. Oh, she's got a lot of problems with her coming out and speaking about the fact that that the First Lady may or may not have been an escort. To which I reply, I don't care. I hate that there's a world that now, with all of our wealth, women still have to be prostitutes to make money, to sell their own worth to do that. That's one of the ultimate tragedies of America right now. We are a failing nation, and the things that people have to do to just survive are sickening and just should never happen. I'm so glad I became a democratic socialist.